We navigate our daily lives using a highly specific, very narrow set of measurements. We weigh things in pounds, track distance in miles, and divide our days into hours. It makes sense because these units perfectly match the physical scale of a human body. But step outside that narrow comfort zone, and reality stops following our rules. There are microscopic animals living on this planet right now that can be exposed to the absolute vacuum of outer space, an environment entirely devoid of air and atmospheric pressure, and survive without a scratch. Look deep in the Amazon basin in Peru, and you will find the Shinay Timpishka, a naturally flowing river that reaches 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hot enough to instantly cook any animal that falls into it alive. Look up into the night sky, and there are stars so immensely huge that our entire sun, the object with enough mass to hold our whole solar system together, would look like a single microscopic speck of dust floating next to them. Our everyday intuition is useless at these extremes. To actually make sense of the universe we live in, we have to leave our normal reference points behind and travel from the smallest microscopic structures to the outer edges of the cosmos. Let's start by looking inward at the biology of your own body. You are shedding around 40,000 skin cells every single hour. Zoom in further, and you are constructed from roughly 7 billion individual atoms. This chart shows the total number of genes in 3 different organisms. Notice how the human bar aligns perfectly with the worm. We have roughly the same number of genes as a simple earthworm, and significantly fewer than a common tomato. Then there is the tardigrade, also known as the water bear. This microscopic creature ignores almost every standard limitation of biological survival. You can heat a tardigrade to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. You can drop its temperature to absolute zero. You can subject it to pressures 6 times stronger than the deepest ocean trench, or place it in a total vacuum for a decade without food. It will live. Down at this microscopic scale, life operates on a completely different framework. The physical rules that dictate our daily human existence simply do not apply. When we zoom out to the surface of the Earth, things really do not get much more intuitive. Our planet hides massive geological anomalies right in plain sight. This map highlights Zealandia, a sprawling landmass hiding beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean. It broke away from Australia 85 million years ago and sank, leaving 94% of its territory underwater. It is an entirely submerged continent, roughly twice the size of India. Over in the Philippines, erosion and volcanic activity have created a nesting doll of land and water. Vulcan Point is an island resting inside Crater Lake. That lake sits on Tall Volcano Island, which sits in Tall Lake, which is located on the larger island of Luzon. And remember that boiling Amazonian river? The water there reaches near lethal temperatures without a single volcano in sight for 400 miles. It is fueled entirely by a bizarre network of geothermal spring faults running deep underground. The surface of the Earth is chaotic and unpredictable. To survive in these extreme local pockets, human beings have engineered highly specific ways of living. Look at this isolated structure in Whittier, Alaska. Because of the freezing winter storms that batter this coastal region, normal urban sprawl is physically impossible. So almost the entire population of the town lives inside this one 14-story building. Their post office, grocery store, school, and medical clinic are all enclosed within the same walls. Residents can go weeks without ever stepping foot outside. This visual demonstrates a strange fact about planetary surface area. Russia covers about 17 million square kilometers, while Pluto covers 16.6 million. You could peel the borders of Russia off Earth, wrap them entirely around Pluto, and still have land left over. This model shows the true distance between Earth and the Moon, separated by 252,088 miles of completely empty void. To understand that massive gap, line up Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune side by side. Every single planet fits perfectly into that space. And despite its enormous size, Saturn is a gas giant with an incredibly low density. If you could somehow find a bathtub large enough, the entire planet would float on the surface of the water like an apple. Pushing further out, we find stars like VY Canis Majoris. Its diameter is 2,000 times larger than our Sun, and yet that giant star is just a speck within the Milky Way. When we look into deep space, we see thousands and thousands of other galaxies, each containing millions or billions of stars with their orbiting planets. At this macro scale, human concepts of distance and volume stop making physical sense. The numbers are simply too large for our brains to visualize. When you look back at Earth from across the void, you see exactly where we stand. We are living on a spectacularly tiny, fragile fraction of an ancient and deadly universe. Recognizing that fragility is strangely liberating. Surrounded by quadrillions of miles of cold, dead space, we happen to exist in a highly specific, perfectly balanced slice of reality. We live in an environment where acacia trees can warn each other of danger by releasing invisible clouds of ethylene gas into the air. We evolved brains complex enough to calculate the exact composition of stars we will never physically visit. Keeping that cosmic scale in mind is a highly effective tool for everyday life. The next time you are stuck in terrible traffic or agonizing over a stressful meeting at work, remember the massive context surrounding you. We are floating on a geologically chaotic rock, orbiting a minor sun inside a galaxy measuring 100,000 light-years across. Realizing the beautiful absurdity of that situation is one of the quickest paths to genuine peace.